Welcome back to Diamond Weekly. My name is Cooper. I have Kevin here, and Kevin, baseball has finally arrived.
Yeah, some would say baseball has begun it. I mean, I'm so happy baseball is finally back.
I okay. I started off. I tried to do something weird and funny, but whatever. Um, Baseball's here. Opening day yesterday. Cubs won. I'm happy. White Sox won. You're happy. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean the Cubs brought down the Brewers, which is like okay, when like only one team beat the defending World Series champions. Only one team held them to one hit through 6 innings, and that was Chicago White Sox. So I'm not saying the Chicago White Sox are going to go out and win a World Series, but I am. I'm actually saying that. I'm
My
100% saying that.
aspirations for the Cubs have officially changed. We're winning the World
Yeah, no,
Series.
the Cubs might win 81, 82 games for sure. Like they could come in third in that division, no problem. But they won't win 100
They
games
did
like
a
the White
lot.
Sox. They're not going to go on a World Series run like the White Sox are.
Okay.
Oscar Colas is going to win the Rookie of the Year. Andrew Vaughn might hit 50 home runs. Like I don't know.
Say when he comes off, the IL is going to hit 50 homers.
Okay, well, whatever. Who cares about the Cubs? Moving on from the White Sox and the Cubs, who both had nice little opening days, both came out with the wins. It was a really cool opening day. I love opening day. It's like one of my favorite days of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the pageantry and all that stuff. Like I love all the different traditions all these different teams have. Like Cincinnati does a really cool job opening day. They block off all the streets around the stadium, and they have like a big old parade. Opening day in New York is really cool. Like there's just so many places where like Wrigley obviously is a place where opening day means a lot to people. So
Yeah.
like it's just an awesome time. Like I this is the first time I feel like baseball has really had a lot of momentum
Um,
going into the season with the World Baseball Classic and with all these new rule changes. So I really do think that there's some juice around this baseball season. I'm really looking forward to this
yeah, we had
2023
a lot
season.
of really cool and interesting things start off. Like the we had reminders of last season. Aaron Judge in his very first
Yeah,
at
Aaron
bat
Judge first at bat goes deep.
against Logan Webb.
And what's interesting is last season it took him until his sixth game to hit his first home run. Obviously, last year he hit 62 tanks and breaks the American League record. So maybe he's trying to break his own record this year. Maybe he's trying to push. He got off to a hot start yesterday with a home run. I mean, he's unbelievable. He hits everything in sight. Aaron Judge is unbelievable. Breaking news: Aaron Judge good at baseball.
He's gonna
Yeah,
sooner or later. I will see the Yankees in World Series. I feel.
And we'll get to that later with our AL East preview. I think this is the Yankees' year. But moving on from Aaron Judge, we saw some other cool stuff around baseball. We saw Adam Wainwright, who is on the IL right now for the Cardinals. He sang the national anthem at Busch Stadium for opening day, which was hilarious. I love that so much. I know you're like you hate the Cardinals. You're a Cubs fan because the Cardinals own you and whatever. But like
Not this year.
objectively, it was cool. It was a funny moment.
Not this year.
Why you gotta hate, man? Why you gotta hate on
They played
Waino?
they played a good
He had a
game.
silky voice. You don't think?
It was good.
He was
really-
good. I thought he was really good. It sounded
They
nice, man.
played
He might
a,
have a career after baseball. Maybe join a choir somewhere or something. Who knows?
They had a good game against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, hell of a
yesterday.
game.
They Blue Jays ended up winning 10-9. What we can do, I don't know what we're 100% gonna do like going forward after we get through our divisions, because today after we go over some more stuff from opening day and some other news, we're gonna do the AL East, and then next week we're gonna do the American League West, and that'll be it as far as our divisions. We'll probably do a very quick like World Series preview at the end of that, but then after that we're probably just gonna go through like weekly news, scores, what's happening, and we'll go from there.
We'll cover the Cubs' eventual demise and
Okay.
fall to the bottom
Alright,
of the division.
moving
It'll
on.
be great. It'll be a fun season.
Another big thing yesterday, probably one of my favorite players right now. I personally see him as a top 3 catcher, maybe even a top catcher. Adley Rutschman went 5 for 5 yesterday with 5 ribbies and a homer.
Yeah, unbelievable day from Adley Rutschman, who may have the claim to be the best catcher in all of baseball. This is his first opening day.
Mm-hmm.
First catcher since Yogi Berra, or only catcher, I should say, since Yogi Berra, to go 5 for 5 on opening day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy is a stud. Like he is gonna be, and we'll get to this when we cover the Orioles, but he is gonna be a big reason why this Orioles team has a solid year. Even though I don't know if you saw this, but right after the game, John Angelos, who's the owner of the Orioles, he went on local radio in Baltimore, and the first question he got asked was, "Hey, what's in the works in terms of a potential extension for Adley Rutschman?" And he immediately defaults into like, "Oh well, it's so hard as a small market team to sign these guys. Like they're looking for so much money." Basically saying when his contract is up, they're not bringing Rutschman back
Yeah.
because they're cheap. And I've ranted about this before, but so many of these owners just do not care.
I have the Orioles. I'd keep Rushman for now.
Yeah, I would probably keep Rutschman too. Like, that's like a pretty good idea. He's like one of the best players in baseball. So yeah, maybe you want to hang on to that guy for a little bit, not just let him walk in free agency. But these owners just don't. Whatever. They just don't care about winning. John Angelos being the prime example of an owner who does not care about winning.
What else happened? Ty France hit a go-ahead three-run homer.
Yeah, nice big shot for my
I
boy.
need the Mariners to do well. I want the Mariners
Yeah,
to do well. I remember, what was it, last year? Was it last year we were watching the Mariners go down the stretch?
That was the 2021 season. Yeah, they were
2021.
trying to make a playoff push. Obviously, they had that huge playoff drought, which they broke last season. And yeah, I mean, the Mariners are a fun team. Obviously, you have Julio Rodriguez. You have pretty good rotation with Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo. And I mean, yeah, they could be a good team. It's tough when you have a team like the Astros kind of on top of you in that division. But who knows? Like they played the Astros pretty tough last year, so maybe this is the year they overtake it in the division, or very minimum a wild card spot. I think is in the
For sure.
in the cards for the Mariners. They're looking to have a big year this year.
We had a couple big rookie news. Anthony Volpe for the Yankees makes his big league debut.
Yeah, his story
Jordan
is so
Walker.
cool. Yeah.
Jordan Walker for the Cardinals makes his debut. Masataka Yoshida, and then one of your guys for the
Like
White Sox.
you keep making fun of me, like this guy, that one guy for the White Sox. Like when Oscar Colas wins Rookie of the Year, had his first hit yesterday, by the way. I mean, you'll know his name. Don't you'll find his name soon enough, buddy. Like you'll
Did
see.
everyone get their first hits yesterday?
I'm not sure. Volpe got his first hit in Yankee Stadium,
Walker did.
which was awesome. Volpe's story is so cool. He's from New York. He grew up in New York, went to school in New York, and he's playing for his hometown team. His parents are huge Yankee fans. He grew up a huge Derek Jeter fan, like every other kid in New York. So just to see him get the reception from that Yankee, home crowd and all his friends and family in the stands cheering him on. I mean, to start at shortstop for the New York Yankees is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dream come true
such
for
a
every
famed-
kid. Every kid that grows up
such a
playing
famed
baseball.
franchise, yeah.
You imagine yourself, you're Derek Jeter, you're playing short, so just such a cool moment. It's what makes baseball so cool with stories like this. Anthony Volpe is going to be, I think, a big contributor on this Yankees team that's going to be very good this year.
What else? We'll probably check up on injury stuff, but the one big key injury, Verlander, looks like he'll be out for a while. Yeah, he was placed on the IL just hours before opening day with a muscle strain, so they'll be without him for a little bit. But I wouldn't be super worried about it.
Yeah, he's only going to miss maybe a couple of starts. He said in his presser that if this was a meaningful game, if this was a postseason series, he's obviously going to pitch. But with the season being so young, there's just no point in risking more significant injury. So you miss one or two starts and you come back when you're 100% because it's a long season. They're going to count on him to make 30 starts or so. So you don't want to risk your health at this point in the season when the Mets have World Series aspirations and Verlander is going to be a huge part if they do end up making a run of the postseason.
The spot he filled up from Jacob DeGrom. DeGrom made his first official start with the Rangers.
Got roughed up.
And he gave up 5 in 4 innings or something like that.
Not even 4.
Not even 4.
They
He
chased
got
him away after
beat up
3
there
and
against
2/3.
Philadelphia.
I saw an interesting stat. He gave up back-to-back triples to I think it was Alex Bowman, Trey Turner.
Okay.
In 27 previous starts with the Mets against Philadelphia, he gave up 1 triple.
1 total triple.
And he gave up 2 triples back-to-back in his first start with New York. New York actually came back to win that game, though, right? I don't know if you saw Robbie Grossman hit a big 3-run tank. They won that game 11-7. So that was a nice little win for New York, especially after DeGrom gets chased early.
Rangers.
The Rangers. It's going to take a second to get used to that with DeGrom gone. But, yeah, nice win for the Rangers with even after DeGrom gets roughed up. The the offense backed them up, and they got the win. Like it's a good Philadelphia team.
Other pitching news: Marcus Stroman. I watched the full Cub game yesterday. It was a pretty decent game. We managed to knock around Corbin.
I don't like to admit this, but that Cubs team looks pretty
know,
good. That
I know.
lineup. I mean, Dansby obviously is a dude.
He did really well.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a team that
He does that almost maybe not every day, every other day.
I know, and like the Cardinals are gonna I think we saw yesterday, like they're gonna have issues with pitching and things like that. Like maybe the Cubs.
Boxberger was okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to. I mean, long season. Like we don't want to overreact just from opening day.
Stroman did have 6 scoreless, which he struck out 8 or something. But in other funny news, he became the first pitcher in MLB history in a regular season game to earn a pitch clock violation.
Yeah, we saw a lot of funny stuff with the pitch clock. I don't know if you saw Jeff McNeil actually got an automatic strike in the Mets Marlins game because
Alonso didn't get back to
Pete
first.
Alonso didn't get back to first, so Jeff McNeil had a deep fly ball. Wasn't really sure if it was foul or fair, so Alonso takes off running. It ends up foul, and he takes too long to work his way back to first base. So Jeff McNeil ends up going from an 0-1 count to an 0-2 count after only 1 pitch is thrown, which is really funny. But I love the pitch clock.
I watched the Cup game. It went by pretty darn quickly. So,
but it's not even just the total length of the games. It's the pace of these games, right? And when I say pace, I mean I'm talking about like the downtime in between pitches. I'm talking about like actual action within these games.
Yeah.
Because you can have a 2.5 hour game which is a fast game, but nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can also have like a 3-hour game where there's a lot of action, a lot of pace. And like I think a prime example of that yesterday was like, and I don't want to I don't want to just use the White Sox as an example, but Dylan Cease had a phenomenal game yesterday, and he was calling his own game with PitchCom. He was calling pitches to his catcher, Yasmani Grandal, and getting the ball and just ripping it. Reminiscent of like Mark Burley back in the day. 9-10 seconds between pitch and go. And I think it really unsells batters when you're just working that fast and when you're moving. Like it's hard for them to get into a rhythm and to get settled in the box. I mean, Dylan Cease yesterday made a World Series lineup look absolutely foolish. So like that's gonna help. I think especially pitchers like Cease and other young guys like him who have all the stuff in the world, but maybe get in their head a little bit. Maybe they're sometimes have, paralysis by analysis where they're overthinking stuff. So if you could just get the ball, call pitch and rip, and get the ball back, call pitch and rip, like that is going to benefit a lot of guys who like to work quick.
We're going to see like multiple pitchers try to like exploit it too, because we saw Scherzer in spring training like kind of just mess with people. I know Nestor Cortez, he's also been a fun guy to watch, and he'll be a lot of his quick pitch stuff. So a lot of pitchers will try to like exploit it this year and see if they can like get some funny workarounds to the pitch clock and completely throw off timing. So we'll see how that goes. Some other things that happened yesterday. This is probably one of my favorite things that happened yesterday, besides the Hunter Renfroe catch, which was just stupid. Did you see the Hunter Renfroe catch?
I did see that. That was like
Shohei
for people
on the mound stood there with his arms on his hands on his head.
So for people who didn't see it, Hunter Renfroe was playing right field for the Angels, and he kind of got a bad jump on the ball. So the ball was kind of fading towards the left or right center gap, and he was kind of running towards the right foul pole.
Yeah,
and so
quickly tried to turn around,
whips his glove behind his head, not even looking at it, and just snags the ball out of midair. It was like didn't even know where the ball was.
Shohei legit just stared at him, like
just sucked the glove up, and the ball was there. Like not maybe the most impressive catch I've ever seen. It could have been a much simpler play if he got a better read on that ball, but like. It was just like, how does that ball like end up in his mitt? Like it was, that was crazy, man.
One of my favorite things yesterday that happened, I didn't get a chance to see it live, but we when we talked about the NL Central, we talked about Hunter Green and his velocity for the Reds, but he threw a 105.2 mile per hour pitch yesterday against the Pirates and Andrew McCutchen, which is crazy. It's the fastest pitch since Aroldis Chapman did it for the Reds.
I get two.
Surprisingly, against the exact same batter in Andrew McCutchen. I just find that really funny and cool that those records just somehow find each other like that easily.
Yeah, I mean, 105 is.
105 is heat, but O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates did manage to get around in a 101 from
Turn
Green
it around,
and hit
man.
it like 115 off the bat.
Kill that baseball. O'Neal Cruz we talked about in our NL Central preview. Obviously, nobody's is expected the Pirates to do anything this year, but I mean, O'Neal Cruz is going to be a fun player to watch, and he proved that yesterday. Hit a nuke off Hunter Green, who's like one of the better young pitchers in baseball. Like,
Yeah.
if he can find some control, obviously the velocity and the life on that fastball is there. So, I mean, yeah, O'Neal Cruz, dude, absolute dog.
Before we get into Kevin wants to talk about there was discussed the MLB Players Association agreed with a deal on salary increases, but
Yeah, so the
before I get like mainly into that, like I just want to like say that like I don't know like how much people should be getting paid, but like just seeing the inflation of baseball, like I just don't want it to get like super out of hand, but just like what do you think about that?
So I get what you're saying. Obviously, the major league players are getting paid a lot of money because baseball brings in a lot of money. But if you look at the minor league level, these guys are living at legitimately below the poverty line. Average salary for a minor league player is $16,000 a year. So these guys are living off scraps, right? So the minor league baseball, the minor league baseball players association officially agreed to the first collective bargaining agreement between minor league players and the MLB. So it's expecting them to double salaries at all levels of the minor leagues. I mean, this is huge because, like I said, a lot of these guys, obviously you have guys who are bigger prospects who can kind of live off their huge signing bonuses until they get to the majors. But for a lot of these guys that are kicking around the the minors for, 4 or 5 years and they're not highly touted draft picks. I mean, playing minor league baseball is a grind, man. Like,
Yeah.
they're not flying to games. They're driving buses overnight. Like I said, they're making scraps. A lot of these times, these guys can't afford rent.
You're plus depending on like how good they are. These players are constantly rotated in and out of
Yeah,
different
you're
teams, so
moving
they have
around
to
all the
pay
time.
for traveling and all
Yeah.
that too.
I mean,
Or maybe most of that's covered.
A lot of a lot of that's not covered. A lot of the time they're living with what is called the host family, a family that kind of takes them in because they can't afford a place to sleep at night. Like they can't afford. Like you're talking about guys who are professional athletes. There's stories about guys are surviving off Snickers bars and Coke like as their pregame meal. Like it's just for an organization that brings in as much money as Major League Baseball to have these guys living. When I say below the poverty line, I'm not exaggerating. Like they are legitimately living below the poverty line. A lot of these guys have jobs and like all the other jobs in the off season because baseball isn't paying the rent. Like, so this is super important. This is a huge step for minor league players, and like it's so far overdue. There's this idea in baseball, and I think not just in baseball but in life. Like, okay, well, when I had to do this, like it sucked, like it was awful. So like, it should be that way for everybody. Like if I had to go through this, you have to go through this too. So like, there's a lot of these old heads talking about like, well, that's what you need to do in the minors. Like you have to put your time in and like you have to go through the grind if you want to get to the big leagues. Like I had to do it, so these guys should have to do it too.
Yeah.
Which is a ridiculous argument. Like why would you hated it when it was happening to you? Why would you not want to make it better for the guys coming after you? Like I said, below the poverty line, these guys are professional baseball players making $16,000 a year, right? So like, it's so overdue by Major League Baseball. Absolute embarrassing that they let this go on for as long as it did. And even now, like these guys aren't making, they're not millionaires like a lot of people think. Like they're still not making a ton of money, but at least now they might be able to actually provide and pay rent and buy groceries, maybe even make a car payment. Like, I don't understand how the MLB allowed this to go on for as long as it did, but I'm glad that they finally, rectified it because this was just an embarrassment for the major leagues. They're an $11 billion organization. and
Yeah.
they can't pay guys a living wage. Ridiculous. But I digress. I mean, yeah, a big victory for minor league players. Hopefully, they can continue to kind of negotiate with MLB and increase their pay as the years goes on and things will get better. Things only get better a day at a time. Like there's not going to be a huge jump,
No.
but I mean, you'll take your victories where you can, obviously.
Some other, one other bigger news. I'm a big game person, so MLB The Show, also along with the new year, has just dropped, and Kevin and I have been starting the grind. We might have like a special MLB The Show segment later on, like a designated one at the beginning of one of our shows or something, just to talk about it. But like, the new year has started, so we're just trying to get on the grind. We actually played a co-op game the other day, and through all the lagginess, we managed to get a good win.
Yeah, I
against...
carried. Like Cooper not good at the game. He's pretty trash. I, on the other hand, like
Okay.
I'm thinking about I know all the viewers out there like really love this show, but I might have to leave because I might have to go pro and
You might
I'm
have
the
to
show.
go pro.
Like I might
Okay,
have to
start
drop out and become a
enlisting for
content
some
creator.
Xbox tournaments here.
Yeah, like I'm really good, man. Like I am really good at that game. No, I'm trash. Can't hit.
I'm starting to think I'm the worst
Can't
player
pitch.
because like I'm the one of those people that the ball will go right down the middle and I can't hit the ball.
Jerk down, yeah, on the PCI. My MLB The Show players know what I'm talking about. You get a middle fastball.
I can't do anything.
Yeah,
with
can't do anything. But one of the cool additions to the show this year is they have the Negro League
it.
storyline.
I really like that.
Super cool, man. A couple of years ago, Major League Baseball kind of acknowledged that the Negro Leagues were a part of the Major League, so like all their statistics were added into like the Major League record books, and like there's been a big push to educate people on the history of the Negro Leagues. Because like, I mean, I know it seems like a long time ago, but like baseball was segregated until like 1946. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that long ago. It's not. Like this game has been playing
For how long this sport has been
yeah,
around.
we've been playing this game for going on 150 years. So
Mhm.
like for a long time, like obviously black people were not allowed to play baseball, so they had their own leagues, and like there's so much history in these leagues. Like obviously a guy like Jackie Robinson, we all know his name, but there's so many guys that just got forgotten because they weren't playing at what might have been thought about as the highest level of baseball. You have a guy like Bullet Rogan, my dude Bullet Rogan, like people that saw him play talk about him like he was that time's Shohei Ohtani. He was pitching and he was hitting, and like one of the fastest guys on all of baseball. Like Joe Gibson, like the Black Babe Ruth, like he was a guy that hit absolute nuke. So there's just so much history that is like involved in the Negro Leagues. And like, I'm really glad that MLB The Show is giving a platform to kind of expose people to all this, because like it's just a huge part of baseball that's kind of lost, that a lot of people just don't really know about. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool that a lot of people are getting introduced to it through the game. Super, super cool.
Is there anything else you wanted to tackle before we get on to
Yeah,
our American League case?
one thing I did want to say. So Daniel Bard, who's a reliever for the Rockies, he's going to start the season on IL. He's currently dealing with anxiety. So this is we kind of saw in the World Baseball Classic. I think it was pretty apparent that he just wasn't in a great mindset.
Yeah.
He kind of was all over the place with his control, and it's hard, especially from professional athletes, to kind of acknowledge like
A lot of the stress they
yeah,
take under
so much
from-
stress and so much stuff going on with their day-to-day lives. And like I think it's important if a guy like Daniel Bard comes out and says like, hey man, like I have anxiety, I'm trying to manage it, I'm doing what's best for me. Like that's so important to show, like not just other major leaguers obviously, but like people who are fans of baseball. Like it's okay to acknowledge like, hey man, like I'm struggling, like I need to reach out to somebody. Like when it's important to see other people in like positions of power, like I'm struggling too. Like it's not just you that's undergoing this. Like we all are undertaking this. So we wish Daniel Bard the best, man. Like had a pretty good year last year with Colorado. So hopefully he can take care of himself, and we'll see him again this season. I mean, yeah, like I said, really good year last year. So wouldn't want to lose him. But I mean, there's bigger things in baseball, and hopefully he can kind of get himself right.
I remember you also wanted to touch up on the Brian Reynolds
Yeah,
news.
Brian Reynolds. So he's been kind of at war with the Pittsburgh Pirates this whole offseason. He wants to get traded. He wants an extension. So John Heyman reported that allegedly they are settled on a number somewhere in the $100 million range, but he wants an opt-out at the end of, I believe, 3 years, and the club does not want to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, it's just hard for me to imagine the Pirates like I said, like they don't want to spend money. So I think odds are he gets traded at some point in the season. I don't think we see him end the year in a Pirates uniform, but I mean, you never know. Maybe they decide to give him an extension. Obviously, homegrown player, all-star, like really good switch hitter, center fielder. So you don't want to lose a guy like that. But I mean, Pittsburgh's got no interest in trying to win games, so they don't got a lot of use for a guy like Brian Reynolds. And it's like, why would you pay him, $100 million or whatever?
Hey, they still have a perfect record.
Yeah, 1-0, baby. Can't start better than that. 1-0.
All right, so today we're doing the American League East.
Yeah, really good division. Probably for my money, the toughest division, top to bottom in all of baseball.
Like Yankees are a strong team, Blue Jays are a strong team, Rays.
You can never count out the Tampa Bay Rays. I know the names on the roster don't jump out, but like they always just seem to get to 85, 90 wins somehow.
Never count
the
them
Orioles are an exciting young team, and then there's the Boston Red Sox,
which like I don't know if I can qualify them as a good team or a bad team because they have good players, but just kind of seem to go all over the place.
Yeah, the Red Sox are coming off. They've kind of had a couple of bad years since that World Series in 2018
year.
Super disappointing offseason. Obviously, Xander leaves. Xander was fan favorite. They had opportunity after opportunity to extend him or to try to bring him back, and just didn't really try. Like, he was a mainstay in that lineup. He was there through 2 World Series. He was there for, the better part of a decade. So you never want to lose a guy like that in the clubhouse. The owner of the Red Sox, John Henry, like, just an all-time bomb. Like, he just does not care about the Red Sox. Like, he also owns Liverpool, which is like an English football team. And
really?
Yeah. He's just way more invested in that than in the Red Sox. Like, the Red Sox have just seen so many good players leave under his, tenure. Like, he obviously trades away Mookie Betts, like Andrew Benintendi, Hunter Renfroe, like guys that were good players for that World Series team gone. Xander now gone. So like, just made no effort to try to keep that core in place after that World Series, and like, it shows. Like, they've gone into a downward spiral ever since that 2018 season.
They've been trying to pick up some interesting pieces here. One of the main big ones was Masataka Yoshida from Japan, who played really well in Japan. He was someone we got to see play for Japan in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, good year.
I think he had his first hit yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
And he was very good player in the Nippon League in Japan. I mean, hit 336, 449, 559. I mean, it gets on base at an unbelievably high clip. It's hard to know with the foreign players. You just don't know how they're going to translate to the major league game. But I mean, a guy like him who's super patient at the plate, like gets on base at a high clip and has some sneaky power too. Like, I think he's going to be a productive player for the Red Sox. I think this is a nice signing.
There is a risk when signing them.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Like, you don't know how they're going to develop because, like, it's still baseball. It's still the same sport, but like,
it's a different style of baseball.
It's a different style completely.
And he's like, there's just the talent in Major League Baseball is just better in America than it is in Japan. Like, Japan obviously has produced some unbelievable players, but I think the depth of talent in the United States is better than it is in Japan. So, but I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a good player for the Red Sox. I mean, they need, some production after they lose Xander, and they've lost so many great offensive pieces. So,
they only have 3 remaining players from the World Series from 20. They have Chris Sale, Rafael Devers, and Ryan Brazier.
Yeah, and Chris Sale has pitched, I think, 50 innings since
something like that
since 2018. The Red Sox are just they just don't have interest in bringing back these guys that have been productive for them. They did, however, they re-signed Rafael Devers, which is huge because there was some worry that he was going to leave, but he signs a 10-year, $313.5 million contract extension after yet another unbelievable year at the plate. Hit 295, 358, 521, hit 27 home runs. That's good for a 141 OPS plus. So, like, guy's a stud, like perennial all-star. He deserved this contract. A lot of Red Sox fans were worried they were going to lose yet another core piece of that World Series team. So it's nice to see them kind of secure some homegrown talent, especially after Mookie leaves and Xander leaves, and all these guys are gone now. So it's nice to see that they kind of secured a guy that the fans really like to watch.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of the other big key pieces, they actually did in terms of the bullpen. They actually did get their hands on Kenley Jansen, which was surprising. He's been someone in the bullpen who has been dominant for quite a while, especially with the Braves and helped them win the World Series. And then before that, when he was with
Dodgers,
with
yeah,
the Dodgers,
he's been one of the best closers in baseball for a while
just
now.
a dominant guy.
Yeah, and
overall,
he'll help stabilize that team. Chris Martin, former Chicago Cub, he'll help stabilize that team.
He posted.
Yeah, really good year last year between the Cubs and the Dodgers, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now for the Cubs. 4.31, 4.31, and then for the Dodgers, 1.46. So
yeah, nice.
He
year for him.
has potential for them. In terms of other pitching, they actually got their hands on Corey Kluber, which is an interesting one.
Yeah, this
coming off of
rotation
someone
is
who, like, the rotation is in a weird spot, but for someone that's Corey Kluber, I think retirement should come soon. I mean,
yeah,
I
Kluber
think he had his
obviously
prime years in like 2014 and 2016, where he won 18 games in 2014, and then the
won a Cy
2016,
Young.
2017 years where they made it to the World Series and he was just dominant. But I think it's time to move on for him.
Yeah, he. I mean, didn't have a bad year with the Rays last year. The Rays are kind of known for fixing up a guy like Corey Kluber and rehabbing them. So not a bad year with the Rays last year. They're obviously hoping he can kind of return to that World Series form. But I mean, it's hard to count on. He's had some injury problems in recent years. He hasn't been the same Corey Kluber we knew from the Cleveland days. So I just don't know if you can really count on him returning to that Cy Young glory and having a solid season. Behind Kluber, obviously, you have Chris Sale, who, like, Chris Sale, I love Chris Sale as a White Sox fan. Obviously, was really the only guy worth watching on those White Sox teams from, 2013 to 2018. Like, the only guy that was any good. I mean, from 2012 to 2018 was one of the best pitchers in baseball. He had, in that span, he had 39 WAR, which was only behind Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer in terms of pitchers. And then he just had a really good run in that 2018 World Series run, too. Like, was a big part of them winning that World Series. And then just has not been able to stay on the field. He's only pitched 48 innings in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I've always been, like, wondering over the last year,
where
he's been.
Just can't stay on the mound. He's had a couple of elbow surgeries. I mean, and we know if he's on the mound, he can be a force. But I mean, he's going into his age 35 season. It's been a couple of years since he's pitched a full season. Obviously, you can't really rely on him to pitch, 150 to 150 innings. I think best case scenario, maybe he makes 15 to 16 starts and pitches, 100 innings. But I don't even know if you can count on that for Chris Sale. I mean, we just have not seen him on a major league mound consistently enough. So you can't count on him either. Like, Garrett Whitlock, he's a guy that you kind of split time between the bullpen and the rotation. Made 9 starts for them last year, pitched 78 innings, but like he's not. He's only in his second year as a major leaguer, and he's going to be relied on to carry a huge load for this team. Just so many question marks for this Boston team that I mean, it had an absolute powerhouse of a core, and then like I said,
in terms of the outfield, they did pick up Adam Duvall, which is an interesting one. He's someone who has shown the power bat. He has like sub 230 average numbers.
Adam Duvall led the majors in RBIs in 2021. Did you know that?
Is that right?
Yeah, he had like 121 RBIs.
113.
Dang.
That's
something,
that's
right?
Surprising.
I know, yeah.
That's the one thing that was like kind of a player and coming on a team you didn't even realize was going to make a push that well, and he gets. I didn't realize he was in Miami either the year after. He was in Miami in 2021.
And then they traded him back to Atlanta.
Back to Atlanta. Now he's in Boston. So
yeah, he was in that kind of Atlanta miracle run where all those guys kind of just
took off. Yeah,
took off. I mean, him and Horace Allaire like were big parts of that run, kind of providing some power. I mean, so you never know. Maybe he has a big year, but I mean, he's a guy that's been kind of a league average hitter for most of his career. They bring in Max Muncy, who's kind of getting towards the end of his career, was a really good player for the Dodgers for some years, and the Dodgers obviously let him walk. He's getting older. I don't know if you can really count on him to be a big part of this offense. It's just There are some guys here. There are some guys
They
here, but
picked up Justin Turner, which is
sorry, did I say Max Muncy?
You said, yeah.
Max Muncy does not play for the Boston Red Sox. Justin Turner is who I was talking about.
A former All-Star with the Dodgers was brought in on a 2-year, like $22 million deal. He hit like 280 with the Dodgers last year. Obviously, he's gonna miss some time with the after he got hit in the face in spring training.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, he got blew up.
Yeah, so he's gonna take some time to recover, but he's someone that like I watched play for the Dodgers and they loved him and all the chanting for him, and he was someone who actually did develop really well, and he also was a really powerful bat in the playoffs, especially for the Dodgers too. So he could be someone that the Red Sox can look forward to.
Yeah, I don't see a future where this Red Sox team is successful in the 2023 season.
Tristan Casas.
Yeah, Tristan Casas is a big bat, man.
Rookie.
Yeah.
He hopes to contribute at the DH position. He's the youngest player in the roster at 23 years old. He impressed with an over 1,000 OPS in 27 games. So
Yeah,
he's someone who can contribute to the offense here.
I think the concern about Tristan Casas is just hasn't played a ton of baseball. Only played about
27 games isn't that much.
Well, even at AAA, only played about 84 games. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a learning curve. But I mean, dude's got some power in that bat. Like he's the guy that can go out and hit you
One of the
35 to 40 home runs. So
one of the main key pieces that the Red Sox will be missing for now is shortstop.
Trevor
Story, who signed a 6-year deal, but
and pretty disappointing for them the last year too.
We don't know when he'll come back because of the elbow injury, but like he's someone that like I know on the market the Cubs were looking at him because we were in the whole shortstop craze because I don't know if you can count him as a top 5 shortstop
it's
anymore.
hard to know because obviously in Colorado those numbers are inflated. He was a very good shortstop, but then last year in Boston, pretty disappointing year. I mean, not overwhelming numbers, kind of a league average hitter. And now he's going to miss a pretty substantial part of the season. He could miss the entirety of the season. So it's tough, especially when you let a guy like Xander Bogaerts walk.
Yeah.
And you're paying, Trevor Story a big contract to not play. It's, unfortunate situation for the Red Sox. I'm sure Red Sox, tough for Trevor Story because he's going to hear it from Red Sox fans if he comes back and he's not hitting because they gave up a fan favorite in Xander for Story who, to this point has not done anything in Boston. I mean, he hasn't really shown, that he is deserving of this big contract. So hopefully he gets healthy and can turn things around. But I mean, the Red Sox are just, I mean, they're the 5th team in a 5-team division. I mean, they're just not. They're not bad.
They're not
I think
power
they'll be
they were
I think they'll be
years
the
ago.
best team to come in last in their division. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think they'll be the best. They could win 78, 79 games, maybe even around 500. But this division is just so stacked. There's so many good teams ahead of them, and the pitching is a huge question mark. I mean, none of their top 3 pitchers have pitched 100 innings in a while, so it's hard to know who you can rely on. I mean, they're projected to win 79 games. I think it's less than that. I think they come in last in this division.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Fenway will fill.
Yeah,
this
the Red
year.
Sox faithful will always show up. Like, that's a baseball town, obviously. I mean,
Red Sox Yankees is always going to get shown on ESPN every other night. So just because it's Red Sox Yankees, but one benefit of the pitch clock is those broadcasts will no longer be 4 hours long, which is nice. But all right, going up the chain, we brought up Adley Rutschman, but his Baltimore Orioles, which finished 83 and 79 last year, they didn't, in terms of the offseason, did nothing.
They bring it.
I saw they picked up Adam Frazier, who is someone who has produced in the middle infield for the Pirates, and I forgot who he played for last year.
The Padres.
That's right. They brought in starting pitcher Kyle Gibson with like a 5 ERA, a reliever Michael Givens. So in terms of that was about it in terms of the Orioles.
This team, I mean, they were an insurgency last year. Nobody
Mhm.
expected them to do anything. They only won 51 games in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Adley Rushman gets called up, and they were a very competitive team. They finished above 500.
They made a strong finish. They
Yeah,
were
and they
trying
were
to sneak
and they
into the
were
wild
very
card.
they were very good against the Yankees and Tampa Bay, who are teams that are obviously very strong, and they both made postseason runs. So like, they had a chance if they would have been willing to go out and spend some money this season to do something special. To maybe, it's hard to say they would overtake the Yankees at the top of this division,
No,
but
I don't think so.
challenge for a wild card at the very least, and just made no effort to try to improve this team. John Angelos, like I said, one of the worst owners in all of sports, just does not want to spend a cent. And here's the thing with a lot of these baseball owners. So, and this isn't as true as in Major League Baseball because there isn't really, quote unquote guaranteed deals, but a lot of these old money owners, they are rich on paper because they own the team, right? But they don't really have cash on hand. You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
don't really have they're not cash rich. They don't
Yeah.
have 10 billion sitting in an account somewhere. So when you have to go out and pay a guy like Adley Rutschman, you have to put that money in what's called escrow. So they know that it's there down the road, that you're not just going to spend that money that's due for their contract. So
Okay.
a guy like John Angelos does not want to put that money away to save it for a guy like Adley Rutschman because he's broke. Like, he doesn't really have the money to do it. Or I shouldn't say he's broke. He's super
Yeah.
rich, but he just doesn't want to spend it.
They're a
So-
team in the last few years that really hasn't made a significant
Done
contract.
nothing.
They've done
and they
nothing.
let Jordan Lyles walk, who was actually a really good starting pitcher for them after John
Mhm.
Means goes
And
down.
For now, after Means, they're starting pitching.
Yeah, this rotation is
I
not good.
honestly,
it's not
honestly,
good.
before I did some research, I couldn't name an Oriole pitcher.
And I don't blame you. Like, it's not a exciting rotation for a team that's incredibly exciting. Obviously, you bring Kyle Gibson, who's like a fourth starter on a good team at best. Cole Irvin is a guy who's a lot of people are high on. Had some pretty good numbers in Oakland, but we've seen so many guys leave Oakland in that pitcher-friendly park and blow up. Frankie
Mhm.
Montas, Sean Manaea are examples of those guys. Like, this lineup is so exciting, and it starts with Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman, incredible last year. Hit 254, 362, 445. Had 35 doubles in 113 games. So, unbelievable. Led the team in WAR with a 5.2 WAR, and he missed the start of the season so they could kind of manipulate his service time.
And then in the outfield, Cedric Mullins, who got to play for Team USA, who
Yeah, he's been a very
surprisingly
good player.
The only Oriole ever to be a member of the 30-30 club.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Ripken never got there.
Huh?
Ripken never got there.
I don't think so.
Huh,
I'll have to
interesting. Wow.
let me.
I believe you. I'm just saying that's interesting. Wow. Good for my boy Seti. Seti did he had something going on with pancreatic cancer or something, I think, this past offseason. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, he's been a very good player for the Orioles. I mean,
Feet has been pulled off just 62 times in baseball history, most
Wow.
recently by Cedric Mullins, the first player to do so in an Orioles uniform.
wow, good for my boy. Good for my boy Selly. Yeah, I mean, he's another young player.
This was a couple of years ago. So, but Cedric is probably besides Adley, their one star
yeah,
player they
still a
can
young
look
guy
at.
too. Only 27.
Ryan Mountcastle at first, who's a big power bat.
And he's gonna benefit because I don't know if you saw they moved that outfield fence in
They
and left.
did, yeah, because
So-
that was an annoying.
Yeah, it kind of jutted out into this field.
Yeah,
so
it was
a
a
weird
little
weird
weird.
dimension.
And it was really short too. They also made the wall a lot higher too.
And then you have Anthony Santander, who's a big power hitter. He hit 33 home runs last
Mm-hmm.
year. So I mean, this offense is good. Like, you're gonna get Gunnar Henderson, who's number one overall prospect in baseball some time ago. I mean,
Mhm.
he is gonna come in and take over third base at some point this season. He looked really good. In last season, he got a couple of at bats, and 117 at bats towards the end of last year. He had 259, 348, 440. Hit 4 home runs. So if you get that guy 600 at bats, he's gonna produce. I mean, very exciting young player for the Orioles.
Austin Hayes in the outfield.
Mhm.
He played close to 150 games last year, and he did hit a 250 line, which is pretty good. But he did strike out quite a bit.
Mhm.
Obviously, the strikeout plagues the game now, but like looking overall at the lineup, like I feel happy with where I am. Obviously, then again, we just did say it with the Red Sox. You are stuck in a very difficult division.
Yeah, this lineup
Teams will they decrease the number of games that teams
within
will-
your division.
within your
Yep.
division, so maybe they won't get hammered as hard.
And I think this lineup is good enough to compete with the likes of the Yankees and the
Yeah.
I like Adley Rutschman is a dude. Like
Mhm.
I think he might.
You disagreed with me earlier, but after that showing, the 5-for-5 showing yesterday, actually there was some owner news about talking to Adley that we'll get to probably at the end of this, but like after watching Adley go 5-for-5 yesterday, I think I want to say he's the best catcher in
So
baseball.
I would still give the edge to JT Realmuto because he's just been doing it longer. We've seen him
yeah,
produce year after year. But
yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
if you, I mean, I don't like if you want to say Adley Rutschman is the best catcher in baseball. It's hard
For
for
a
me to,
switch hitter, yeah.
It's hard for me to dispute that. Switch hitter is a guy that's going to go hit you 25 home runs at a premier position like catcher, an elite defensive catcher at a super like a very high frame rate, like a
Yeah.
great pop time and everything. So like the guy's a dog, like a MVP caliber type guy, like super good player. And then there are some other guys in this lineup, like you said, Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander. I mean, Gunnar Henderson. They're going to be looking to produce. They just did nothing to bolster this rotation.
Yeah.
Just
Look,
nothing.
I said I couldn't name in terms of the bullpen.
You had Kyle Gibson, Dean Kramer, Tyler Wells, Kyle Bradish. Are any of those guys you want starting for you in Game 1 of a playoff series?
Probably
No.
no.
John Means is going to miss a ton of time this year. He was the ace of this stuff, and even him he's not good pitcher, but not a guy I would consider an ace. I mean, you had the chance to do something really special if you're Baltimore this season and just failed to capitalize on it. Super disappointing.
In terms of the owner, John Angelos, he was asked on local radio about extending
yes, I
Rutschman,
said this earlier. Yeah,
and like he immediately responded with the challenges of signing free agents in like a small market like Baltimore. Like,
yeah, which is just code for no, we're not going to resign him.
yeah,
because
obviously
I don't want to
he
spend
has
the money.
like no intention of spending a lot of money in order to try to win. But if you want to. If you want to go forward and produce, you can't be like on the Mets level of
But you have to
spending.
spend. You have
to
to
spend.
You're not going to win a World Series if you're in the bottom, 10 in terms of payroll. Like you're just not. You can't do anything with that. I mean, I guess their hope is that as long as they still have Rutschman on a rookie deal, Henderson on a rookie deal, maybe they make some miracle run. But if you're not going to go spend on pitching, like you're not going to do a thing. Like pitching wins in the playoffs. Your offense can be the best in the world. If you don't have a guy that can go out and throw 6 scoreless against a good team, you're not gonna make a run. You're not gonna make an impact in the playoffs.
They're projected to win 74 games this year. I think they win 80.
I think they win more than that too. I think they win 80 to. I think we'll see a similar number to last year, somewhere around 81 to 82 wins. But it's just so frustrating because I think we know what could have been if they would have been willing to just go out and make a splash in free agency. And there's so many good pitchers in free agency. Obviously, they were never going to spend at the top of the market on a guy like a Scherzer or a Verlander or whoever, right? But you could have gone out and got like a Jameson Taillon, like a Jose Quintana. One of those guys would have really helped out your staff. And just no interest. Like. So I'm just, it's so tough because this is the first time that the Orioles fans have had anything to cheer for since Manny Machado left. They hadn't made the playoffs since I think 2016 if you exclude the COVID year.
Yeah.
So it's just I mean, disappointing for Orioles
Part of
fans.
like I don't know if you can call it three-headed monster at the top of the division, but they're going to be stuck for now, we believe.
Behind Tampa Bay,
who went 86 and 76. The main thing is coming out of the offseason for them. They didn't really acquire much.
Lost a lot.
But they lose a lot of free agent stuff. They lose Corey Kluber, which we talked about earlier. They lose.
Who was good for them last year.
They lose Mike Zunino, power catcher. They lose David Peralta. They lose Ji-Man Choi.
Miles Mastrobuoni, Ryan Yarbrough, who's a good reliever for them. I mean, just a lot of big league talent no longer there. So. And they didn't bring in much at all. Zach Eflin was really their only significant.
I'm looking at his numbers.
Major league signing,
as opposed to like a constant 4
round of 4 ERA. Only pitched 75 innings last year. The Rays, like I said, in my mind are like a baby Dodgers where obviously they have nowhere near the payroll of the Dodgers, but
Yeah.
they always seem to just find these random guys off the street. And it's like, hey, you want to come in and throw 75 innings and have a 3.2 ERA and like super high ground ball rate? It's like, well, I haven't pitched in 7 years and like my left arm fell off, and it's like, oh, that's fine. Like
Yeah.
we'll make you a solid reliever. Like they just find these guys. I don't know how they do it, but like very very strong player development in Tampa Bay.
Obviously, they're headlined by shortstop Wander Franco,
My guy Wander.
who's
So
one of my
did you know-
favorite
Did you know?
girl
I think I
lineup.
might have said this before. So did you know that all Wander Franco's brothers are named Wander Franco?
I did not know that.
So what a lot of it's interesting. So what a lot of these Latin players will do is they'll name all the sons and cousins, like the male younger men,
okay.
the same name. So what they'll do then is the best player of those kids, like the best player, they'll give them the youngest certificate. So it's like if you're 22 and you have a 17-year-old birth certificate, it's like, oh, look at this 17-year-old tearing it up. Like this guy is a stud. You know what I'm saying? So then like they can maybe hopefully go and get like a big league contract. It's same thing happened with Albert Pujols. All Albert Pujols' brothers are named Albert Pujols. So like there is a conspiracy that Albert Pujols might be like 4 or 5 years older than he actually says it is. It's super interesting, like the stuff these people do to like try to get to the majors and like, you know, make a couple bucks. It's crazy, man.
Wander, he's
So his dad's name is Wander. He's got 4 brothers named Wander. He's got
Wow.
2 cousins named Wander.
that's
All
Wander
Wander,
1, Wander 2,
all Wander
Wander.
Franco. Imagine being at the family reunion. Wander, come over here.
I love watching him play.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He was someone I got to see at Wrigley last year when the Rays came
Yeah,
in.
and I think what shows you how special of a talent Wander Franco is, the Rays just let Willie Adames walk for nothing, who is like an all-star caliber shortstop.
yeah,
I think he had 30 home runs with Milwaukee last year.
and
And
I wouldn't disagree.
And I like very good shortstop, and they let him walk, and they made the right move. Like Wander Franco is a dude. Obviously, he missed some significant time this last year. He was kind of dealing with a quad injury and then a wrist injury, so didn't play a lot last year. But I mean, he's played in his big league career total. He's played 153 games between 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 283, 282, 337, 439 rather. Sorry, with 122 OPS plus 6 WAR in a season. So like, if he stays healthy, like he's gonna be an all-star. Like he's gonna be a super good player. And I have no reason to see why he wouldn't stay healthy. Last year, kind of just a couple of freak injuries. So I mean, yeah, he's gonna be a dude. He's
One
gonna
of his teammates here probably will be an all-star. Randy Rosarena, who is
Randy.
he's a dude.
He is a dog.
Like
A
coming off of what I
dog.
saw in the World Baseball Classic,
He
like
just shows up. He just,
nothing got by the ball
Nope.
in him and left. Like he just stood there and just like he did his like, arms crossed pose.
If
He
you
just-
look at Randy Rosarena's baseball reference page, nothing is gonna pop out. Like he's a very good player, but like you might not put him up there with the Aaron Judges and like those guys of the world.
yeah,
But
he
when it-
managed to.
he
he did win Rookie of the Year in 2021.
But what I'm saying is, in a winner go home game, in a game where you need to get a win, I cannot think of one other guy in the major leagues I would rather have in my team than Randy Rosarena.
Yeah.
When the lights are bright, this guy shows up. I mean, obviously he has that unbelievable postseason run in 2021 with the Rays. He sets the home run record for the postseason.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the guy is just a dog. He hits the freaking baseball wherever he is. So like, he's the guy that you want on your
he
team.
posted 260 numbers, but obviously he had 20. He's hit 20 homers the last couple of years. Hit like 90 RBIs. He is someone that partially did contribute to the World Series push that they made in 2020. But like after coming off of an incredible World Baseball Classic, he's just
looking to go on a tear.
he wants to go on a tear. What else? For second base, Brandon Lau.
Yeah, they're gonna get Brandon Lowe back, which is big.
He missed a significant portion of 2022, but he hit like a 250 line with 39 homers.
39
in
bombs, 140 OPS
2021,
plus in 2021.
on his
so,
way to a surprising top 10 MVP.
But the rest
finish.
of the lineup after that is not
questionable.
great.
They do have
Yandy Diaz had a career last year. He hit 296, 401, 423 with a 143
Mhm.
OPS plus. But he had some luck with some like batted balls and playing numbers. Like
Yeah.
so, a regression is expected from him. He's probably not going to put up the numbers we saw last season. You got guys like Harold Ramirez, Isaac Paredes, Christian Bethencourt, all around like one WAR guys. Like not bad players, but just kind of around league
Mhm.
average. Not really the best. So
They have Harold Ramirez, Isaac Paredes, Christian Bethencourt, who are all like above average, but not guys you can get too over the top with.
no, they're not going to really do much for you.
So this offense does have pieces and then does have its low pieces, but it's still a team
And
that is able to surprisingly show up and play.
you can't count out the Rays because you just know they're going to have some 29-year-old third baseman who's making his major league debut, and he'll go out and hit 20 home runs for them and hit and bat 290. And like they just always seem to have some guy that just comes up and is good for them. Like they're just one of those teams that you can never count them out, no matter how bad they like the team may seem on paper. Like they're going to show up and be ready to play.
In terms of the pitching, they are obviously
rotation's
headlined
gonna be good.
by Shane McClanahan, who
Sugar Shane, baby.
had a 2.54 ERA and almost got to 200 strikeouts
Struck out
last season.
194 in 166 innings pitched. So that is
Top 10
top
Cy
10
Young
Cy
finish
Young
for
this
him
season.
there.
You're getting Glasnow back too, who really good pitcher. I mean, he hasn't really pitched a lot in recent years. He had a 2.66 ERA in 88 innings in 2021, and then misses all of 2022. But I mean, if he can stay healthy, he's a really really nice piece behind McClanahan at that's number 2 pitch spot in the rotation. And then you also have Drew Rasmussen, who had a really nice year last year for them. Posted a 2.84 ERA in 146 innings. Rotation's strong. It's always going to be strong in Tampa Bay. They have like one of the best. I keep saying this, but like they just develop guys. Like they know how to develop arms and make them into good big league pitchers. Bullpen is good too. You got Jason Adam had a nice year last year, 1.56 ERA in 63 innings. Pete Fairbanks missed some time last year, but was good when he did pitch. Had a 1.13 in 24 innings. You got Jalen Bleeks, who posted a 2.8 in 61 innings. So like, they got dudes out of the pen, and they'll. My mic just fell off. That was
Nice.
interesting. I don't know what happened there, but they got dudes in the pen. They always have dudes in the pen. I mean, and they develop so well. So
the Rays, you have it written down. The Rays remind you of the Dodgers without the unlimited budget. I agree with you. Like when I in terms of a team that I saw with a team with unlimited budget, I thought of the Dodgers. But then here come the Rays, come 2020 season. They just commonly just make a really strong playoff push. I don't know if you can count it as an official World Series run, but that does show
they're
team.
just always around.
That just shows
Yeah.
the team can make a push in the playoffs if they get there.
Yeah, they're just
But,
always around. Like
They develop players incredibly well and always seem to have really strong pitching. Even though they don't have like super big names, they're gonna have to compete with New York and Toronto. But in terms of projection for this year, they're projected to win 86 games this year and finish third, which in my opinion, like that seems about right. I don't know if they'll hit 90. Probably a 75 to 80 range is my guess.
I think 75 is a low ball number. I think they win 85 games, I would say.
Okay.
Maybe 90. They're a good team. Like you just can't count out Tampa Bay. As much as the roster might not pop out, like they just show up like they're a good team.
We're gonna move on to the the Blue Jays now, who surprisingly they finished the year 92 and 70 when it came to the in terms of record, and they surprisingly this is a team that I really need to do well. They obviously made it the wild card, but then lost to Seattle. The Blue Jays are a team that I want to do well.
Yeah, and they got better this offseason too. I mean,
They in terms of acquisitions for the offseason, they pick up Chris Bassett, which is an interesting one.
yeah, he's gonna help that rotation a lot. He put up a 3.4 ERA
they
and
picked up,
181 innings with New York.
Brandon Belt, who's it's an interesting one, but he's a bat. You have to be
Yeah,
careful
he's
about.
kind of past his prime a little bit, but he's good defender. I mean, not the same guy he was in San Francisco with all those World Series runs, but
Yeah.
hoping he can kind of contribute towards the bottom third of that lineup. And then you got Kevin Kiermaier.
Kevin Kiermaier.
What can major league player? He's a guy.
He can play
Yeah.
anywhere in the outfield, and he's a good contact, and he has some pop in the
Yeah.
bat. So yeah, like the thing with the Blue Jays is I want them to do
Yeah,
really
they're a likable
well.
team. They're super
They're a
likable.
likable team, and like I watch a couple people online that are big Blue Jays fans, but like when I see the Blue Jays and like some of the history they've had in the playoffs, especially with like the bat flip or the bat chuck
Yeah.
from
Jose
Bautista, that whole Rangers Blue Jays
Yeah.
divisional series, which was just crazy.
Incredible.
But this is a team I need to do well, and they do have. Looking at the lineup, it's such a
They're
strong.
stacked.
It's such
They're
a
stacked.
strong. Obviously, they do trade away top prospect Gabriel Moreno, catcher, to the
Yeah,
D-backs.
they kind of pile up in catcher between Christian Kirk and Danny Jansen. So you trade away Gabriel Moreno for outfield, which is a position in need. Dalton Varsho, good outfielder, like good player. He'll produce out there with him and George Springer. And I mean, you trade away Lourdes Gurriel, but I mean he's a guy that's kind of maybe towards
They
the
also
back half of his career.
traded away Teoscar, who is someone that has been with.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they traded away Teoscar. Oh.
So like, obviously they're headlined by Big Vlad at first, who is probably one of my favorite players, and
Vladdy Jr.,
he
baby.
a couple of years ago was going for that home run crown. Obviously came up a little short.
Obviously had an unbelievable 2021 season. in pretty much any other year, probably would have won MVP, but obviously you have Shohei Ohtani in his way. But yeah, incredible 2021 season. Followed it up with another really, really good season in 2022. Obviously, it's hard to replicate a season like what he had in 2021, but still really good in 22. Hit 274, 339, 480. That's a 132 OPS plus. He's an all-star. Hit 32 home runs. So he's unbelievable in the middle of that lineup. It's a guy you don't want to face. Has a ton of pop. I mean, yeah, just a really good player.
Around him, around the infield, he's got Bo Bichette Jr. at short, who was third in baseball with 189 hits last year. He's someone that is just like he's just kind of a swagger like dude. He's just kind of like there in the moment.
Yeah,
and like will produce.
Likable guy.
And we'll just
Very
kind of
likable
stare
guy.
at people and just kind of question like, just let me play ball, man.
Yeah, he's a dude. I mean, hit 290, 333, 469, had 127 OPS plus, was third in baseball in total hits, had 189 hits in 2022.
Yeah,
So,
I brought that up.
Yeah,
So
just
he has a significant contact. In center, I don't know how much I like him, but George Springer continued to produce in his 8th major league season, hitting like 270, and he earned another All-Star berth. He had like a whole stretch where you just had like leadoff homers, like crazy,
George
like
Springer
no other.
really good at the top of that lineup. Obviously, I know you don't like him because
No,
of
because
Astros.
he was
thing and
part of the whole
everything.
Astros thing. So
Yeah, but I mean, good player. Like what can you say about George Springer?
And
Really
he's-
good player, and he's produced since he left.
a strong
Uh,
defensive
yeah.
player. So, Alejandro Kirk.
Alejandro Kirk.
or-
Alejandro Kirk built like a garden gnome. He's like, like I don't know how tall he is. Probably like 5'8". I'm guessing pushing a buck 270. Like, I mean, just a tank. A guy. And he's just a hilarious looking dude. Yeah, really good season though for them last season at catcher.
5'8".
5'8". What does he weigh? Out
Says
of
100
curiosity.
and 111 kilos. So I don't know the
What is that
conversion.
in pounds?
I don't know.
You
It's
can't
listed.
Google 111 kilos to pounds. We're teaching Cooper to Google here on the show. Very
I am.
exciting stuff.
I want 111. Not
This is
el-
great.
Not 11.
This is great.
244.
podcast. 244. Yeah, big dude, big fella. So,
what
good year
else?
last year though. 285, 320, 372, 415 slash line. Had 126 OPS plus. Got his first All-Star berth, and his big season.
He was first in All-Star voting for catcher.
I know. Well, he was the best catcher in the American League by
Yeah.
a pretty wide margin. I mean,
I would-
obviously this was. You have Adley, but Adley at that point had only played about 50 games, like, and
Mhm.
you know, he was just very good player, man. Alejandro Kirk, very good player. Like, what can you say? He's a guy that's going to help this lineup out a lot this year.
At third, they have Matt Chapman,
Yeah,
who has had a bit of a down
I
year.
really like Matt Chapman.
I like Matt Chapman,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, he's a Gold Glove caliber guy. Where they're at third, a little bit of a down year at the plate. Hit 229, 324, 433 with a 115 OPS plus, but like he'll bounce back. I mean, it's tough moving to a new place and playing in a new stadium, new organization, everything like that. But I have full confidence he'll bounce back. And even if he puts up another similar season to what he did last year, I mean, his defense is still incredibly valuable, and he'll be a big piece why this team goes far if they end up making a run in the postseason. I mean, super good player, a guy that'll help you. He's a championship level player. Guy you want in your roster in a playoff series.
They also have Whit Merrifield, who has been like a consistent trade target for a lot of teams.
I hate Whit Merrifield. Former Kansas City Royal, great player with the Royals for a lot of years, used to kill the White Sox. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would estimate Whit Merrifield hit about 200 home runs against the White Sox. I mean, just killed us. Good player. Maybe not the same guy he was before. Had a pretty bad year after coming over from.
In 2019 and in 2021, he played every single game this season.
Had a baby.
He did bat 280 last year with Toronto, so he is showing outside compared to like older numbers, which show 250, 240. So he's someone in the infield that shows as a strong leadoff after Springer.
Yeah,
but he's someone that'll be able to get on for some of the bigger bats.
Yeah, and he's a veteran presence in that young locker room, obviously, with guys like Vlad and
yeah.
I mean, he's on good teams in Kansas City. Obviously, they won a World Series there back in the day. So, a guy you want on your team, good locker room guy. I mean, yeah, I hate Whit Merrifield, but he is a good player. You can't dispute that he's had a very good career. But I mean, yeah, lineup is good, man. Lineup is really, really good. There's just power all over the place. Vladdy is a guy who can go in and hit you 50 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can go hit you 50 home runs. I mean, Bichette is a dude. Springer's a dude. So they're really, really strong lineup. Not a lineup that you're gonna want to face day in and day out. You also notice this team has so many sons of major leaguers.
Yeah.
Bichette, Dante Bichette's son, Vlad Jr. Obviously Vlad Guerrero's son,
Biggio.
Craig Biggio's son, Cavan Biggio.
Kevin.
Is it Kevin?
It's not Kevin. Cavan.
I think it's Cavan Biggio. So, yeah, a couple of sons of big leaguers on this team, which is interesting. But you look at the as good as the offense is, the rotation is also super strong.
Highlighted by Alek Manoah, who came off of a 2-4 year, an All-Star year. He was second. Was he second?
Third
in Cy Young voting. I mean,
put up a six wins above a replacement. That's
finished 16-7.
Pitchers,
I mean, that's someone strong. They also have Kevin Gausman, who did really well with the Giants, but then in 2022, he posted a 2.81, which is pretty darn good for them. And then in 2021 with the Giants, posted 2.81, and then last year posted a 3.35. So he is someone that is a pretty decent 1-2 punch. Obviously,
really good 1-2 punch at the top of that rotation.
Obviously, they add in Chris Bassett.
Yeah, you lose Ross Stripling, which is actually a loss for them. He had a good year. I mean, really was only expected to be probably a fourth or fifth starter, and really strong for the Blue Jays last year. So that hurts. But you bring in a guy like Chris Bassett, who was kind of a workhorse for New York last year, had a strong season with the Mets. I mean, he's going to be a good player. Jose Barrios is a name to keep an eye on.
He's he's like a wild card type thing. He had a strong 2021 season where he finished ninth in Cy Young voting.
He's come over from Minnesota has been, I mean, pretty disappointing. He had a 5.2 ERA last year in 172 innings. That's a 74 ERA plus. So pretty. I mean, just not going to get it done. But I mean, he is a guy that when he's on, we've seen, he can be one of the better pitchers in this league. So if he can hopefully have a bounce back season reminiscent of his 2021 campaign, I mean, this rotation is going to be a force to be reckoned with between Manoah, Gausman, Bassett, and Barrios. I mean, really, really strong rotation there. that can compete with anybody. I mean, if you have a playoff series where you're going Manoah to Gosman to Bassett, I mean, that's something I would be really comfortable with going up against almost any team really. I mean, I think you could compete with that.
In terms of the bullpen, they do have Jordan Romano, who is probably their one big closer piece in 64 innings, a 211 line. They also have Jaime Garcia and Eric Swanson, who have also posted really good numbers. So they're a very strong team from top to bottom. The offense is pretty darn explosive, and the rotation has potential to be even better than last season with the addition of Bassett and Barrios. They're projected to win 90 games. But can I say something? Blue Jays are winning the division.
I like the Blue Jays.
I'm tired of the Yankees.
The Blue Jays are a very, very good team. Very, very good team. But the New York Yankees, and I think I hate the Yankees.
Short field.
I hate the Yankees.
I didn't realize they changed the random note. I didn't realize they changed the fences. They brought the fences in Toronto.
Oh, Rogers Center. I didn't know that.
But then they brought the fences in, but they raised them higher.
Huh. Interesting.
So I don't know how
We'll see how that works out, yeah.
that'll impact some people.
We'll
But
see.
I don't say I'm on the bandwagon, but I want the Blue Jays to win the division.
Yeah, Blue
they
Jays.
haven't
I mean,
been able
obviously
to
the Blue Jays will
scratch.
challenge us as a division. They have a lot of pop in that lineup. The rotation is super good.
They're a team come the trade deadline that is going to make a strong move for someone.
For sure. But the Yankees are
So
really,
we'll move on to the the Yankees right now.
really good.
They were
Really
99,
good.
99 and 63 last year. They won the division. They lost in the LCS to
Again to the Astros.
to
The
the
Astros are
Astros.
kind of just their boogeyman. But
They
I mean,
enter the season high with high expectations. Obviously, they have some right fielder guy who I've never heard of. They have a much better player at first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, who never
Yeah.
should have left the Cubs. But it was surprising when Rizzo was brought over to the Yankees that he led the league in homers, and
Well, that short porch, 313.
I know that's why.
I mean,
That's just-
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good year for them. But I mean, this team goes as Aaron Judge goes. Aaron Judge had an unbelievable year last year. Obviously, everybody knows 62 home
broke
runs.
the record for
That's an
American League record.
Had 311, 425, 686 slugging percentage. That's a 211 OPS plus. Unbelievable. I mean, one of the best seasons I've ever seen on an individual level. Like,
Yeah.
every time he was up to the plate, he was at the right to go deep. I mean, what else can you say about Aaron Judge that hasn't been said? I mean, he's one of the best, probably the best player in all of baseball. I mean, the guy just is incredible. I mean, he's unbelievable. He signs a huge contract extension this year. He turned down
The
$213 million before the 2022 season, betted himself, and I mean, it paid off. I mean, he signs a 9-year, $360 million extension. I mean, it's a nice little deal for Aaron Judge.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Giants fans. Arson Judge.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Arson Judge is not coming
Didn't
to
work out.
And then going back to Rizzo, who hit pretty well. He's returning also to New York on a deal, but I'd say probably the main key acquisition for them is probably Carlos Rodon.
My guy, Carlos Rodon. I don't want to always make this a White Sox thing. The White Sox could have brought Carlos Rodon back for $18 million. All they had to do, they didn't even offer him an offer sheet. Like, they just let him walk for nothing. So they let him walk because they don't want to give him $18 million. He goes to San Francisco, puts up a couple of Cy Young caliber season, and then got paid this offseason. Signs a big deal with the Yankees. I mean, this and joins a rotation that it's already stacked.
We'll get to the rotation after we
Yeah.
go through the lineup. They did lose, obviously, Benintendi. They lose Tyon.
Benintendi was kind of struggle for them though.
Yeah.
I mean, really good in Kansas City, and then just when he got traded to the
They
Yankees,
did lose Aroldis Chapman, who's, I mean, that's not super.
I don't think that's as big of a loss as it may
I think
seem.
Chapman is as dominant a closer is.
Towards the end of his
there's
career.
so many other pitchers now that are just up to his level and dominance. They did lose Matt Carpenter, who was actually when they
Yeah.
brought him in.
You're hoping maybe he gets 150 ABs off the bench and gets a couple of hits for you here and there, and then he was a really good hitter for them. Like, kind of had a career resurgence. Like, everybody
Yeah, I
thought he
see
was
15
done.
homers, and I think it was in like a much smaller stretch. He only played 47 games. 15 homers in 47
Yeah,
games.
had a baby, Matt. Yeah, I mean,
Um, but yeah, I mean, now getting to the lineup, obviously so DJ LeMahieu is a strong bet. The Cubs have
yeah, former batting champ.
looked at him and
Yeah.
had him in the system before. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Anthony Rizzo,
Always a strong player.
always
I
a
mean,
strong guy.
and he's gonna hit a lot of home runs in Yankee Stadium with that short porch. I mean, he hit 32 home runs last season. He's probably gonna hit it 30 plus again this year. And then you have Giancarlo Stanton,
Who is a guy that when we talked about the Marlins, he will hit the furthest ball known to man at some point during this season.
yeah, but he's
but
also gonna strike out.
He's
going to
strike
times.
out at least 115 times.
Yeah,
So he's got to work on those numbers. Josh Donaldson, the bringer of rain at third, is this first
fuck
year.
Josh Donaldson. I hate Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson is the worst player in baseball. He thinks he's like, oh, like I'm so cool. Like Josh Donaldson, you haven't won a thing. Tim Anderson is your daddy. Tim Anderson owns you. He walked you off after you called like absolute racist and called him Jackie Robinson or whatever. You're a bum, Josh Donaldson. I know you're listening to this because you probably listen to everything with your name in it because you're so self-conscious. You suck. You're the
He
worst
is
third baseman
a
in baseball.
former MVP, and the Yankees are hoping.
Yeah, I don't know
he can
how
bounce
because
back.
he's just I genuinely cannot describe to you how much I hate Josh Donaldson. Like it is my fury for Josh Donaldson knows no bounds. He is the worst, the worst, worst of all
To
time.
his left, he does have the newcomer Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, I really like Anthony Volpe. Good guy, way better than Josh Donaldson, prick.
So
94 OPS plus for Josh Donaldson last year. Like
Yeah.
that guy sucks. Terrible player. He'll probably be playing in China at the end of the year. Bozo.
Volpe.
Hate Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson's the worst.
Volpe's looking to produce. You feel this. I don't feel bothered by him.
Because you're not a White Sox fan. White Sox fans know.
Now
Josh-
you know how I feel about Harper.
But Harper is actually good. Like Harper is like a really good player. Josh Donaldson sucks and talks so much shit. Like he never shuts up. Tim Anderson owns him. He literally took him home like it's his baby. Like he's cradling him in his arms. And Josh Donaldson's like, oh, Tim Anderson. Blah, blah. Like shut up, you bozo. I can't stand Josh Donaldson.
I love this. And then Jose Trevino at catcher. Good, strong defensive guy. And then Aaron Hicks in the outfield. Obviously, the switch.
Aaron Hicks is still on this team?
Apparently.
Oh my God. Yankees fans hate Aaron Hicks. Because they all want Brett Gardner to be on the team still. Like
Is he still playing?
No, he's gone. But
Okay.
they want just useless at the plate, and all the Yankees fans love him because yeah, he plays the game the right way, man. Like just hustles out there, man. Because he's like a little 5'8" short white guy who can't hit. It's like, yeah, I see a lot of me in him, man. Like guy just goes out there, plays the game the right way, man. Yeah, not good. But Aaron Hicks also not good, not a good player.
Moving over to the starting rotation. Obviously, they're highlighted by.
Stacked.
It is pretty
Stacked.
Okay. Obviously highlighted by Garrett Cole, who
A dog.
I know he pitched yesterday. I think it was like the first time.
He struck out 11
I think it was one of the,
in 5 innings.
I read the stat line or something. It was like the first time both starters in a game
had 10
on opening day had
10 plus
had
punch outs.
in
He
a while.
struck out 8 of his first 9, which is an opening day record. I mean, guy, there was after the whole sticky stuff situation in Major League Baseball.
Which he was probably the headline.
Garrett Cole got a lot of hate, and then his first 1 to 2 starts after that whole crackdown, he struggled, and a lot of people were like, oh, Garrett Cole sucks, man. He was a sticky stuff merchant, can't really do it. And he just shot all those bozos up. Garrett Cole is a frigging stud. He is unbelievable. I mean, look at the numbers. Like they don't lie. Like I know a lot of people don't care for Garrett Cole. You know, they think he's whiny. They think he's whatever. But I mean, the numbers don't lie. Like he's a strikeout king in 2022. He strikes out what? What? Help me out here. How many did he strike out in 2022?
How many?
257 in 2022 to go along with a 3.5 ERA, which in Yankee Stadium with that short porch is a better number than it seems like. I mean, just like I can't think of a lot of guys if you're going into game one of a playoff series.
Yeah, 257.
I can't think of a lot of guys I would rather have than Garrett Cole.
And he's already got 11 through one start.
Yeah, I mean he's just a dude. Like I don't get the Garrett Cole hate because he's so fun to watch. Like he's electric out there on the mound. And I get it. He plays for the Yankees, and I hate the Yankees as much as anybody else. But like Garrett Cole is one of the best pitchers of our generation, and like I mean, just obviously like what else can you say other than stud? Like the guy's just a dog.
He will be followed up by Carlos Rodon.
My guy Carlos Rodon, yeah.
I'm just gonna run some quick numbers on him, but he was obviously like probably the key starter for the Giants, or not the Giants. Who did he play for last?
You're
it is
on there,
Giants.
buddy. You got it. You're
Okay.
you're on.
A 288 number, and then kind of going back when he played for the White Sox, kind of up and down numbers, but I feel like
Always injured. That's his thing. He's
Yeah.
going to start the year on IL this year too with an elbow injury. That's the concern with Rodon. I love Rodon, but he's had a really tough time staying healthy in his career. So I mean, if he is on the mound, he's going to be a dude. But is he going to make 33 starts? I don't know if you can count on him for that. I really don't. I hope so. Like I'm not rooting against Carlos Rodon. I want to see him do well. I really like Carlos Rodon, but just looking at his track record, like I really hope that the years he had, the 1 year in Chicago and then the 2 in San Francisco, I hope that's not an anomaly. I hope that he's able to stay healthy because when he's on the mound, he's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Had a couple of top 10 Cy Young seasons in Chicago and San Francisco. I mean, yeah, just like a dude. Somehow never an All-Star though. He got snubbed in 2021 and 2022, which is ridiculous. Like I don't know how you can leave a guy like that out the All-Star roster.
Then after that, they have Nestor Cortez.
Love Nestor.
I love Nestor. I love in spring training that he like. Obviously, it's gonna be interesting because I think he actually got flagged. Yeah, I think it happened. It didn't happen yesterday, but it happened in spring training with this pitch clock. He got flagged for pitching too fast.
Yeah,
because
he did a lot of weird stuff like that. Like kind of like
he'll
Johnny
do a lot
Cueto,
of bobble Cueto or quick pitch and wobbling. I like it. It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
but last year, he posted a 2.44 line for the Yankees. So
yeah,
he'll
just a guy like
in almost 160 innings. So
yeah, he was a 36th round draft pick for the
Yeah.
Yankees. Like the fact that this guy's even ever cracked a major league roster is already unbelievable in its own right. And then he's just like a really good pitcher for them. Like it kind of is funky and like you said, like the way he delivers the ball and like his movements on the mound and like just like a guy that just has a lot of fun out there. Really good pitcher for them last year. And I mean, hopefully he can have a similar year to what he had last year. He had a 2.44 ERA and 158 innings. Got his first career All-Star nod. Yeah, I mean, Nestor's a guy that I don't think you can find a lot of people, even the biggest Yankees haters. Like, you gotta love Nestor. Nestor's just a dude.
Another one I see is Clark Schmidt, who's actually done really well. Only about 60 innings last year, but he did post a 3.12 line. Who's the fifth starter?
Luis Severino.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher. Just hasn't really been able to stay healthy in his young career. I'm trying to see here. I have it written down. He only pitched about 90 innings last year.
Let's see.
102 innings, posted a 3.18 ERA. So I mean, yeah, if he pitches a full season, it'll be a nice piece in that rotation. Bullpen also very good. You got Clay Holmes, who had a 2.5 ERA, he was a shutdown guy for them. Michael King missed a little bit of time last year, but when he was healthy, had a 2.29 ERA and 51 innings pitched. Jonathan Loaizaga had a little bit of a down year last year, but I mean, he's a dude out of the pen. Uh, Yankees are good. Yankees are really good.
They will benefit from the balanced schedule as they
They're
struggled a little bit down the stretch last year against the rest of the East.
Yeah, but they are a team that I think maybe more than any other team is gonna benefit from the shift rules. I think Rizzo is a guy
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
but like Stanton too. Stanton is gonna benefit from the shift a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be a really good team. They're gonna be super hard to beat.
The goal for them is basically not only just win the division, but beat the Astros somehow
Yeah,
and get to a World Series.
they
I
just-
think
they
with the
haven't been
addition
able
of
to
the
get
new
over that hump.
pieces, with Aaron Judge and Rodon, they have a very strong chance to do that. But I brought it up earlier. I don't want I just can't be Yankees every single year. I want to see the Blue Jays win the division.
I like the Blue Jays too, and I know that everybody hates the Yankees. Like they're not a franchise really. Anybody we all want to see the Yankees fail, but like they're the Yankees for a reason. Like they're a team they're a franchise that just wins. They win a
Mhm.
lot, and I know they haven't been able to get over the boogeyman of the Houston Astros. But I mean, you bring Carlos Rodon, like bolster this rotation a lot, and I do think this is the year they get over the hump. I think they win the division again. I think they win the division easily, quite frankly. They're a better team than the Blue Jays. They're a much better team than the Blue Jays, frankly. And I like the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are a strong team too, but the Yankees are just so good. This rotation is so strong, and I don't want this to happen. I'm rooting against the Yankees actively, but
Mhm.
it's hard for me to see a world where they don't make it back to the ALCS, and
They will go to the playoffs.
I think ALCS is the bare minimum for them. I
Okay.
think I really do think this is their year to win the World Series. I really do. They're just so good. I mean, and I keep saying it, but this rotation is probably for my money the best in all of baseball, especially if they stay healthy. I mean, a 1-2 punch like Cole and Rodon, you're not going to find better than that anywhere in the majors.
So a final run through. Probably at the bottom will probably be Red Sox
Boston.
again, and then I mean it doesn't really super matter.
I like
Probably Rays and Orioles. I like the strong.
I agree. I think the Orioles. The
They'll-
Orioles come in third this year. I just don't think there's enough in that Tampa Bay offense to really do
Yeah.
anything significant.
And then I know you feel opposite, but I'm gonna go Yankees then Blue Jays.
yeah, I'm gonna go Blue Jays and then Yankees at
But
the top.
Obviously, we'll see what happens, but that's it for probably the biggest stacked division
yeah,
in baseball.
probably the strongest division in baseball. We got one more division left in the
American
AL
League West.
Yeah, I think we all kind of know who's gonna take home that division this
Nurse.
year.
Mariners all the way.
Yeah, the Oakland Athletics are obviously gonna win that division. But
okay, I had a funny occurrence yesterday happen when I was playing the show, and like I was playing some conquest games, like some 3-inning games, and I'm dropping like a dozen runs against the Brewers, like middle teams, and then I go to Oakland and lose 3 straight games, 3-inning
Ouch.
games.
Oakland beat
They beat the Angels
the A's
yesterday.
last night. Did you see Anthony Rendon? The clip of Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, I don't know. For those of you who don't know, he like
Grabbed a fan out of grabbed him by the collar of his shirt out of the stands and kind of went at him a little bit and swung at him actually. Thank God he didn't make contact with the guy because he probably would have been suspended for a pretty nice chunk of the season.
But next week when we get to the AL West, you're gonna hear me rant about the Angels about
Yeah.
how they just have not been able to get to the playoffs. Trout needs to go to the playoffs.
I mean, yeah,
I want to see him in the World Series.
I think the Angels probably coming last in the division. We'll get to that next week.
We'll get to the next week, but that's gonna wrap it up. Again, thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week.